Wemden zamden kesum buwem komar wadas san doi we sinyon patkuya nyamo hutra yin. We need to be very, very careful, especially when we lose our identity. There won't be no more services for us. Well, just like the non-Indian out there.
Thank you for joining me. My name is Lena, and I'm from the Kwatsan Tribe, and your host on Resilient. Kumadak Muvak, Lena, Inyamul. Greetings. My name is Lena. On this episode of Resilient, I had the opportunity to sit with Barbara Levy, a member of the Kwatsan Tribe, while she was giving a private lesson to my mother and one of my relatives. She spent her life working on the language, being an interpreter, and now does private lessons. She says, there's only about 50 people who speak and understand Kwatsan, and 15 of those are fluent. At first, she thought I was my sister, whom previously interviewed her for a language documentary she is working on.
Do you remember me, Barbara?
I remember you. I think I've met you a few times when I used to live down there. So I know who
Did
you
you
are.
ever? Somebody interviewed me one time. I thought it was you.
It's
Somebody
probably, it was my sister. It
was
was
the
my
other one.
sister.
Okay, she did a
Yeah.
real long interview with me when I was coordinator at the language
Uh-huh.
program.
Oh,
She
yeah.
came in and she asked a lot of questions. She asked for stories. As a matter of fact, when she got done, she was crying because
Yeah.
she said I had reached out to her heart, and because that's the way I speak. That's the way I talk because I am a Kwatsan. I'm a full-blood Kwatsan, and my mother and father were fluent speakers. I grew up in a home where there was no English spoken,
Mm-hmm.
and my heart is totally Kwatsan. I will not speak English. I'll speak Kwatsan before I speak English. That's the way I am. Because
That's
I can't
awesome.
think in the white man way. I can only
Yeah.
think Kwatsan first, and then I will say it in English. And she was really amazed at the way I had been talking like that. And once in a while, I forget I'm talking to English people, like we said, say it in Kwatsan. And they'll say, "Oh, your language is beautiful. Were you just talking in your language?" I said, "Did I say something in my language?" I said, "Yes, you did." "Oh, that's because I couldn't think of the word you're asking for."
Yeah, so you don't even notice that you're speaking Kwatsan
I
and
didn't notice because I was thinking in Kwatsan because they were asking me a question and I didn't, trying to think it over. What else she's talking about was,
uh-huh.
yeah, kaamtinga, I said kaamtinga means, what does he mean,
Uh-huh.
So I would think in Kwatsan, then I would turn around and speak in English. So they got me doing that.
So it's different. You're bilingual, of course. Yeah,
Well,
you're always gonna think in one way because that's
I
exactly how
am
you were raised.
bilingual. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
bilingual. And I have an accent. I can't say my alphabets in English too well. When I was in school, I had difficulty. My teachers used to say, "Why can't you say the letters?" And I said, "I can't help it. That's the way I learned my language."
Yeah, it's
So
phonetics, right?
phonetics. And
Uh-huh.
so that's why a lot of language speakers, like Spanish people, say chicken instead of chicken because they have that sound in their language
Uh-huh.
and they speak in the ish sound. So their chicken is always chicken or cash my check.
My
They'll
check,
say
yeah.
that my check. And
It
here
means
comes the
same thing.
queen, here comes the queen because you can't say queen. So that's the way it is with Kwatsan when you're speaking and you always spoke Kwatsan and you have a difficulty in speaking English or trying to think what they're saying to you, you will think in Kwatsan first and say, what are they telling me? Then when I think it over, I'll remember and I say, oh yeah, this is what they mean.
So you just do your own
I'm
language
doing my
lessons on your
own.
own? Oh,
I
okay. That's
haven't given up the language. To me, I've always taught language before I was even hired by the tribe. I used to teach under a mesquite tree and I had 5 students.
oh
And
wow.
I started that way. And then the tribe started the language program. They wanted to merge my program with theirs. And then the new coordinator didn't want to have nothing to do with me. She said, "You're going to be instructor and you're going to teach on Saturdays." And I said, "Wait a minute, we're supposed to merge. I've been in language. I'm a speaker and you don't speak." But she had education, the knowledge. She was a master's in education. Tribe hired her, but she didn't work out. They fired her because she couldn't speak Kwatsan. She didn't know Kwatsan ways. She didn't know this and that. So there you go. So I stepped in and we did a lot right there with the A&A grant. That's where we got everything going. Right now, there's a dictionary unfinished, a big language, 2 volumes of our tribal language, which we worked on. I worked on it since 1992, interpreting with the linguistics, and then when I became in the language program, it was easier for the dictionary to get printed. Or it isn't print; it's ready, but they don't know how to finish it because when Vernon fired me, the instructors, everybody didn't know where it was at, and so I said, I know where it's at. I know what it needs. And I know there's money for it to finish it, so it needs to be done, but I'm no longer under the program. I can't do it because I'm outside the walls now.
Yeah.
I can't go in. So I said, if you won't let me in, I can't finish the project. I need permission from the council to complete the dictionary. Then I can step out and not bother nobody no more. But I'd like to see that dictionary finished. That's
Finished,
my pet peeve. Huh?
That's your goal.
My goal.
Yeah.
Our goal, the tribal goal,
Our
not
tribal
mine.
goal, yes.
Tribal people. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the tribe. That's what I'm trying to finish it because I have that knowledge, ability, and I know where it stands. I have the history of it from Abe Alpern to Amy to Margaret Langdon, where it all started from the history of it. And I'm in those books, all those books that are being worked on.
Yeah, I'm reading the
Stories?
the stories. I'm reading that right now.
There's 5 stories written by 5 elders, and there's another one by George Bryant.
Is it the one? I think it might be the Bryant one.
George Bryant, yeah. That
It's
was
got like a
that was Khipuktakhan. The book is called Khipuktakhan, the first one. That's the story, creation story of the Kwatsan people.
Not
There's
that
a second one, and there's Spirit Mountain. A lot of books. This was a third book, the stories. I forgot what it was called.
I know. I'm trying to look for it right now.
And there's Spirit Mountain. Spirit Mountain is probably what you're talking about. And
yeah, I'm reading that one right
I'm
there.
all in those books. I was an interpreter. I had the ability to understand all in Kwatsan because I'm a fluent speaker. Also, I mastered the English language in the college. I took English for 1 whole year under an English professor. And I learned how to read, write, and speak, and I comprehend English. I'm a journalist. Wow. This one is called Stories from the Kwatsan Oral Literature. Is that the one you're reading?
Yeah, that's the one I'm reading right now.
Okay. And I'll be in that book too, because I worked with the translation on the stories from Kwatsan to English. I'm the interpreter in that this book. I started in 1992 before I started working as a language instructor or coordinator with the tribe. This book was started in 1992 when we got the money with the A&A. No, this was coming from a museum grant in California. There were 2 grants, and there were books published from that. The dictionary is coming from the A&A grant.
So it's your life's work to try to get this completed. Like when you're doing your own personal
that's what I'm doing now.
Like
and
teachings and whatnot, maybe get someone to record you so that we can upload those and you can have your own class and you can teach other Kwatsans that are not living on the reservation who actually want to learn, so you could be broadcasted either live or, through just a video that we can upload and we can share it, through social media, Facebook and all the other platforms out there, just to get your so to get your teachings out there, to continue your life's work.
Well, that's what I'm doing here today in Danielle's house because I'm working with Julie. And I see potentials in Julie as a young person right now. She's at a good age right now to learn all these things and to carry these things for the tribe. And she'd be a good example of the learning ability. She has very intelligent mind and she can do these. And so I wanted to continue working with her as she grows because, you got to work with them. It's not an overnight thing you learn. It's something it's like, what do they call it? I'm doing language immersion right now because we had to put the reading and writing aside, but learning to speak. Like right now, we did food. Okay, tonight we did food.
Okay.
I had 12 photos of food and vegetables, and so I told them that we're going to learn how to prepare food in Kwatsan. So we're going to make a salad. What do you have? I had a picture of lettuce, tomato, and onion. So I told Emilio, don't say this in English, say it in Kwatsan. He said, tomat, cebolla, chavashu, that's lettuce. You got those three ingredients, okay, vegetables. What do you do with them? And Danielle said, you cut them. I said, yeah, kakitk. Kakitk means to cut them in Kwatsan. So you get those vegetables, those three you just mentioned, kakitk. Oh, first, kasulik. You have to wash them, clean them, kasulik. Kakitk. Then you do the next, you mix it, you blend it, everything, then you'll have a salad. The last step on that is to eat it. Come on. And that finishes that lesson plan. So next week we're gonna work on meat. Get some
That's amazing.
kwekwae masheye, kwekwae mayui. You boil. How do you prepare meat? That's a question I'll ask you as a student. Tell me how you prepare meat. What do you do with meat? Let's say hamburger. What do you do with it?
Cook it.
Yeah, but how do you cook it? How do you want to cook it? There's several ways to cook it. Give me one.
Frying
You
it
can fry a hamburger. And some people boil hamburger because they make stew or soup.
or soup.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the word in Kwatsan for frying is kshig. Kwekwai tamovarum is hamburger. Kwekwai tamovarum kshig. Kwekwai tamovarum kayoy. If whichever you want to do, which one do you want to do? Milyoyum, mashiyum. That's what they're going to learn right there with the food to begin with. Okay, so you will learn in Kwatsan what you're going to cook. Making a salad, you're going to use tomat, cebolla, chavshu, is the lettuce.
So are a
So,
lot of our words are some of them are a lot of them are similar to like like Spanish.
yeah, yeah. Because we didn't have those. We did a lot of trading. When the
Uh-huh.
Spaniards came in their ships, they brought their tomatoes. They brought their onions. We didn't have them here. But the seeds were passed on too. So now when we exchanged corn and squash and beans to the Spaniards, they gave us the tomato, the onions, the chili, which we didn't have. So we use the same words. Instead of saying cebolla, we say cebolla. Instead of saying tomato, we say tomat, you know. They
Okay.
say lechuga for lettuce, but we
Uh-huh.
say habashu because it's green. And the elders called it the green thing. It's a green thing, habashu. That is our own word right there, is lettuce.
Uh-huh.
So we adopted arroz as being rice. They say arusa. We say arroz, and that's it. So there were adopted words. And if you look at the English dictionary, which I'm reading a book right now called Language Death by David Crystal.
Okay.
And I'm reading his book, and it explains all about language. Why language is important, why language should be, preserved and spoken by those who are the speakers, why language should come back to the people. And it says all in there why. And so the English dictionary itself is not completely English. It was adopted from Latino words, it was adopted from French. A lot of words are not all English. There are some words have sounds of the French word and the Latino.
Yeah.
So if the American dictionary uses those borrowed words from other languages, then Kwatsan is the same way. We borrowed from the Spaniards. Those who brought us those things that we didn't have, when we shared with them. That's how it starts, all language starts. This is a very sophisticated person who was writing all this, educated, highly educated, the best in the West. And to me, I'm learning from him through the book what
Oh, wow.
language is. And now I don't want to sit back because I have the ability to speak both. But I want to pass on my language as Kwatsan. I want to find ways to get that out. So I'm working with my tribal members. Do you want to learn Kwatsan? Let's sit down. I'm working with another lady. She's learning prayers. She's
Uh-huh.
learning religion in Kwatsan, and I'm teaching her prayers. I'm teaching her our Kwatsan creation story, which is like the Bible. She likes that, and I do once a month lessons with her because she's working. I can work with anybody, even you. If you want to learn, you can set aside a time that you're open. You want
I
to
got all the
learn
time
some
in the world
words.
for you.
Okay, then we can do that by telephone,
Yeah, that would be
and I
so
can
amazing.
get some prepared for you, and then I do a question answer thing to start out. But
Yeah,
do
that would
you have anything? Do you have the Kusan alphabets? I can mail them to
mail them.
you
Okay.
or fax them, but I can just put them in the mail. But I need an address.
Okay, because in on the website, the website that we have, Kwatsan Media Inc., that website, we have
Mhm.
like a whole like alphabet, like I think there's an alphabet. There's how to say uh like animals and like plants or fruit or whatever. It's all on there. But I mean, I can look at it and I can guess, and it's better to be heard. And I
Yeah.
heard something very interesting. I was listening to another podcast not too long ago, and they said that you can teach somebody the words, but that's not going to teach you the language. You have
Oh.
to actually immerse yourself into, fully being 100% into the language, but like you have to basically self narrate all day long. You have to talk to yourself in whichever language that you're trying to learn. Like if you're, washing the dishes, or if you see
Mhm.
water, like you just have to say whatever the Khotan word for water is, or if, like you said, like you're making a salad, like you're talking to yourself, and that's the only way that you're really going to learn the language, because you're actually doing it nonstop all day long. And anybody could like go to a class and you can say, hey, this is how to say dog, or this is how to say run, or whatever. But not everybody is going to retain that, because they're not going to really be able to speak to you, or have an actual full on conversation with you, because they just know the words. They don't know how to actually put it all together. So
Mhm.
by self narrating and talking to yourself, and like putting like little sticky notes like all over the place, and like saying what something is, like a door, or a whatever those types of words are in there, like that's the only way that you're really going to fully learn. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Okay, what I use now is picture cards. I go to this, when they have those grocery flyers where they have sales, food sales.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll see pictures of tomatoes, bananas, grapes, and stuff like that. What I ask my students to do is go through that flyers, cut out those pictures,
Uh-huh.
put them in a little index cards or something, and paste them on and make a stack of them. Then, when it comes to the lesson time, you pull out those pictures. I have a picture of banana. Okay, you say banan. I have a picture of an apple. See, that's Spanish too.
Banan.
Manzan.
Manzan.
Manzan is apple, and that's not Kosan, but that's Spanish. But we adopted because we didn't have apples. They did. But we called it manzan because they called it manzanita or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Manzanita or something. So we had to learn in that manner. Now, once you learn all those vegetables, you're going to say, I want to eat a banana. You'll say, banan, machalavita. A machalavita means I want to eat a banana. I feel like eating banana. Or banan kamam means eat a banana. See, you have that same picture of banana. You will say, eat it. You will learn how to say eat it. You will say, I feel like eating banana, or I want a banana. Yo quiero banan, in Spanish, yo quiero
Uh-huh.
banan. So in Kutan, you say banan machalavik. So like love, heart, I love you. And Nyats is me. Man is you. Nyats man. Mahan means I love you. Heart is Mahan means I like you. I like you. So if you're expressing your love, you'll say Nyats man Mahan. And
Uh-huh.
then you're starting your language form with the heart, learning your pronouns of you and me and you.
Okay.
They put them all together. It's just like learning in an English format, but only a different in Kwatsan. It's the words, not English. But same, no difference. We have adjectives, we have verbs, we have subjects, we have all these things, not knowing that we were way ahead of the English before that. We didn't know that, but we had them, and we do have them.
And then called us uncivilized.
And they call us uncivilized, and here we were smarter than that.
Smarter than them, yeah. So
Yeah, sure.
what were our traditional foods back then? Like what did we have if we didn't have bananas, if we didn't have apples, we didn't have, you said, chilies, onions. So it was just squash, beans and what?
Corn.
What corn?
Three things: corn, bean, and squash. The three things is the major, okay?
Uh-huh. What about the
And
meats? Just fish and
we had rabbit. Well, Kwasans ate rabbit because we're out here in the area. We don't have bears and we don't have deers. So we ate rabbits and fish, small game, quail, um, birds, bird meat. When it got too extreme, they went to the birds. And so we ate that bird and fish, and of course the rabbits. So we had a lot of vegetables, which is the corn, bean, and squash, and then the watermelons we had for the sugar is watermelon and cantaloupes. We had those,
okay.
and if I remember, we had a lot of. Oh, we had wheat. We always had wheat. Wheat came in a grass form. We had wild spinach. We had wild turnips that grew in the desert. And you dig up the roots and you'll find the turnips, wild turnips.
Oh wow.
And then we had dates, we had figs, we had pomegranates, and those were the fruit fruit part of it to begin with. We didn't have the oranges yet. The Spaniards brought the oranges. They called them naranca. We call it naranc. Uves, grapes. They brought the grapes. We called it uves. So grapes and oranges, some more. Oh, the apples came from Spain. The Africans brought the bananas, tropical area, when people traveled.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of were imports and exports. We had them that way. So that's the history. That's what I got from my father and my mother when we were asking questions when we were growing up. How come, we were in the 40s, we got exposed to other fruits. In the early 1800s, these weren't existing. There were
So
no
when were
words
you
for them.
born? What year were you born?
1940s, early
1940?
40s, the early 40s.
So then did you went to a boarding school?
No,
No boarding school?
no, I went to school in Winter Haven. Winter Haven had a little schoolhouse for their people, and it was an Imperial County school, but they had it there. And we started there first and second grade, and then Imperial County built San Pasqual School. So second, third, and fourth grade started, we went to San Pasqual. They built them class by class. By the time I got to high school, it was the second class for high school to graduate to San Pasqual. So I never went anywhere but to the
Oh wow.
school here, Imperial County Schools. Started out with that Winter Haven schoolhouse. It was just a little house, and we're all in there learning to speak English. Not a lot of the students from the tribe did not speak English at all. Nothing.
Oh, so everyone spoke Kwatsan.
We all spoke Kwatsan when our parents somehow learned English, the basics, and they said, water, say water if you want water. And just say water. And that's what my dad said. Say bathroom, like toilet, bathroom. Just you want to go to the bathroom. They'll understand you, he said. So that's what we started out with the English, just basics. So now we're going to reverse that now when we start learning Kwatsan. We're going to
Kwatsan, yeah.
reverse all that back to from English to Kwatsan. But we still have to teach them the way they taught us, cat and dog. You know, they're easy to remember because they're right there beside you. You say things that you recognize, you see it every day on a daily basis. That's why I'm teaching Emilio and Danelle food. Let's start with food right now. And along with food, it tells you how to fix it, how to cook it, how to bake it. You learn words in cooking, preparation, and all that. You'll pick up some words. So when you're in the kitchen, you're going to be familiar with all these, and you instead of calling them in English, you start calling them in Kwatsan. That way you're going to remember when you see it. You're going to have to think back in Kwatsan, no more English.
No more
That's the way you're
English.
going to learn, no more
If I
English.
could speak Kwatsan full 100%, I would never speak a lick of English, period.
That's my problem with me right now because I started like that in the beginning. So that's why I can't. I speak English now because I went to school to learn it. I learned, I gave a speech in prepositions when I wanted to pass my English class.
Uh-huh.
And that was part of my speech learning, how to give speeches. I learned how to read and write, and then I became a journalist. I started writing newsletters. I wrote the Kwatsan News. I was the first one that did the Kwatsan News here in the tribe. I did it in a mimeograph machine. I ran them off. I had blue ink all over me, but they had the news.
That was very manual.
Manual, yes,
Yeah.
manual.
Wow. Well, thank you for
So
sharing that.
if you really want to know about the tribe, if you go back from like Manford Scott, I joined the cultural committee.
Uh-huh.
Manford Scott is working on a lot of things, issues right now on water and all that. And then he said, Barbara, when I did my research, guess whose name came out? Who? You. You're all in the research studies from way back in the early 60s. That's when I started. Yeah, in the 60s. I'd be in all those because I was 18 years old when I did my beginning of Kwatsan things with the Kwatsan Nation. I was right there with them,
So what
learning
made you want to do that?
what.
Involved with, you were saying right now, like the water rights or like in documenting the language.
It all started out with a tribal government, and there they were set up an office from the Secretary of Interior to start these things, and they started out with education, which was Head Start programs. They started out with environmental programs. That's where the water comes in, the water and the land, and projects, funding that came through for the tribes to get a beginning on to get organized with like being a city on its own. Because we are our own state right now within the reservation. We don't belong to the United States. We have our own federal lands.
Yeah.
That's why we're in a reservation. But if once you leave it, where you're at, you're a citizen of the state. We're
I'm
not a
all by
citizen of
myself.
the state right now.
Yeah.
No, but you're out there with them and with what state are you living in?
Well, I'm in Arizona, but I live in Phoenix. I've lived here for
Oh,
quite
you're in
some time now.
Phoenix. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're in the state of Arizona. You're a Phoenix resident. Your
Yeah.
citizenship. So when you come to live in a reservation, then you left the state. You're entering into another country. And we're here. We don't pay the taxes. We're not supposed to. And we don't have mortgages. They don't have nothing like that. We own the land. We own the houses. This is ours. So this is the benefits we have. But now they're imposing taxes upon the tribes from the state and federal, and there goes your money. So they took away our self-sovereign rights. That's what we lost in the long run when we started speaking English. When we wanted to live like the white man, this is what we get. We're going to live like that. So in order to go back, they can't touch us. They can't bother us. We have our own. We have our own thing.
Yeah, at
So
some point
we need to
there's
reverse it.
yeah, at some point we have to decolonize ourselves as much as we can, and
That's it.
by learning the language, that's one of the
That's the
biggest steps
word.
that we can take.
You say that to yourself right now when you're talking about Indian nation decolonization.
Yeah.
You've been taken away all your native rights when your parents and grandparents were forced to learn English, which was not our language, which was not even our way. This is the beginning where my heart starts from my learning from my people when I didn't speak a word of English. This is where I don't belong here today. I said I was born in the 40s, and I don't feel like I belong here today. I feel lost in this world right now. I'm having a hard time using my cell phone, having a hard time using the technology. Sometimes I have a hard time with my TV because of the programming system.
Yeah.
So to me, I live in another world, and this to me is my second world. My first world is the Indian nation, the second world is the English, where I don't belong, but I have to blend in. I have to learn to for survival to to live like them, to understand them. That's the hardest thing for me to do.
And it all
So
comes back to language. I mean, you're
it all comes back,
bilingual, and
right?
then we're living in a white man's world, so we're basically all living two lives. I mean, because I grew up on the reservation, I lived there 18 years, and then I moved off to college. So
Hmm.
then it was totally different, way different than anything you can ever expect.
Yeah,
A way different world. Yeah, like you said, going back to the reservation, it is. It's kind of like a third world country
yeah.
when I go back home. Everything is so much slower.
I'm glad you're wanting to learn it because a lot of people that are far in advance living in this world of technology, a lot of people don't think that they want to come back to the Kwatsan people or the language or the culture. Everything is that's why it's being lost right now because it's not maintained. We need to retain it, but how do we retain it? Is if the tribal members themselves want to come back. If you want to come back, we're here. But if you wait too long, we're gone. You've lost it.
Yeah.
We're not going to be here no more. You've lost it. I'm sorry. Goodbye. That's the way I feel right now. That's the
Um,
way I speak. That's the way I talk to everybody right now. I say that.
how many people do you think we have left that speak Kwatsan?
50,
50?
50 out of 500
And those are fluent speakers. That's all we have
fluent
left.
speakers. Fluent, 15 really fluent. 50 registered as Kwatsan and knows Kwatsan ways and all that, but half of those don't speak Kwatsan, but they understand. The fluent speakers that are left, there's only 15 of us.
Oh, 15. I thought you said
Fif-
50.
But there's 50 who maintain it, want to retain it, and can preserve it. They can hold it for us. The door's open. But once they're gone, it's gone. Those are the ones
Wow.
that are taking the lessons right now. Those 50 want to come back. They don't want to lose it. Let Danielle is one of them right here. Emilio is one of them. That's what I said. I'm counting you guys. So pretty soon, when we start a new figure of the new learners, when you guys are in there, it goes from 5, 10, 15, 20. That's something we're maintaining, we're retaining back. But if I don't get those numbers and know what I'm doing in my language right now, I might as well just fold it up and say, why am I wasting my time now if nobody wants to learn it? Why am I wasting my time trying to teach? And that's the way I feel right now. So when they let me go from the language program, those were all my thoughts coming through my mind when I was sitting home doing nothing. Hurt, frustrated. I had the ability to do this, and nobody believes I can do this work, then I'm staying home. But they want me back, they're going to pay me double because I'm worth a lot more than that. I'm a professor in Kwatsan language, as far
You
as
are.
I'm concerned. And I'm going to be paid as a professor. I'm not going to be taught because I don't have very long to live now. I give myself another 2 years, if I'm lucky, another 10 years. But because of medical conditions today, the way they are, with unknown disease coming in, with these illegal aliens bringing in, we could all be vanished with some kind of disease in a second, maybe tomorrow, if we all get the diseases they're bringing across from the sea. That can happen.
Very true.
So it's unpredictable what our future is going to be. That's what I'm seeing. I'm dreaming about it, and I'm feeling this. And that's a weird thing that I'm going through right now, but I'm very sensitive. I know I could feel it, and I'm very afraid, but I have to move on. I have to continue because I'm hoping and praying that there is a tomorrow and a future. That's all I'm looking for right now, nothing else.
It is our responsibility to preserve the language and our culture that our elders are here to pass on to us. If we do not immerse ourselves into our traditions and teachings, then we will be erased, which is exactly what the government has been trying to do since they occupied our land. This podcast is brought to you by Kwatsan Media, Inc. Together we are planting a seed that will start a movement amongst Kwatsan people and every indigenous individual. We're about connecting our community to Kwatsan arts, culture, traditions, and news. Together we connect. You can connect with us on Facebook at Kwatsan Media Inc. Hit us up at kwatsanmediapr@gmail.com for inquiries, or you can also find us on www.kwatsanmedia.org. Thank you for listening, and join me next time on Resilient.
There were people here, and these people that lived here, basically, there were many cultures and many languages, but they were the people of this land base. And almost universally within this concept, they always referred to themselves in their own languages or culture as the people, human beings. But that was always a part of the self-identification, the identification of self, the people. And the Europeans came and they refused to recognize us as the people. They called us Indian.